Oh, um, Chris Caps? What is there really to say about him? I've known him for almost 10 years. He came into our lives from the darkness of a wintry Sacramento night. Fun guy, really. I mean, in the way that my mom thought about my abusive and alcoholic father beating her as a fun guy, sure. I call him a barrel of fun. Just ask our friend, John.
So, do you want me to just speak into the camera, or you know? So, I mean, yeah, I used to drink with Chris. I mean, like, used to. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he could be an asshole sober too, but like when he hits those, fruity beers of his, starts downing those like downing wine spritzers and like, I don't know, whatever that crap is with all the sugary juice in it. I mean, basically, what precursors to White Claw. But yeah, we were out with Bo one night, drinking and having a good time, being friends, being buddies, and we weren't even in a bar. We were like walking between two bars, and I don't even remember what exactly happened. I'm pretty sure like this Chris snapped out. Something Bo had said earlier was just pushed him a little bit too far. I mean, you could just, that guy has he has an anger problem. But I mean, basically, he also like he thought he was bigger than like the 130 pounds he probably is. Went after Bo. Got like good and pummeled too. I mean, I got the whole thing on video. The next day, he blamed me and Bo for gaining up on him, and then that I stepped on his hand to help Bo win. I mean, definitely glad. Like, I had the video, so I played that afterwards. I'm like, yo, I uploaded it. I think I had to point it out on social media for him to get it, to admit that that's not what had happened. Now, am I saying he's an angry drunk? I mean, am I saying that he has, like, the scruffy fight of a Pomeranian that, like, just escaped from a home in the fabulous 40s and thinks it's, ready to go up some Dobermans? Like, am I saying like Chris Caps thinks he's a big boy when he drinks with big man juice, and that he uses that as an excuse to get physical with men that he couldn't otherwise justify doing, and touching and fondling without coming out as a closet homosexual?
So Chris has his rabies-infested canine, Hades, named after the god of the underworld. First of all, Cerberus was the dog, so missed opportunity or common misnomer. We may never know, but long story short, Hades hates men and brown people. Case in point, both me and my daughter have been bitten by Hades. Does this make Hades homophobic and racist? Did he learn it from Daddy? Not sure, but I saw a video where Hades ripped up a paper penis, so maybe his actions speak for itself.
So, yeah, I remember when I first met Chris. He told me right off the bat, I'm Chris, I'm a structural engineer. And I thought that was strange because I hadn't even asked, like, what did you do, or explain what I do, introduce myself that way. And you just don't have somebody break right into, I'm this is who I am. I mean, outside of like alcoholics, pedophiles, people who deal with like antiquities in movies, fine antiquities. Nobody comes out and says that as an introduction. So already just a little bit odd. Actually, now I think about it, he was probably hitting on me at the time. That's how he's always hitting on girls at bars. Every time, drops that little structural engineer. Chris Caps. Structural engineer. and then hits him with the blue eyes and you know, the grin. I'm like, so yeah, I mean, but then like the best part though of that is eventually all of us became engineers, which is great. I think something in Chris's world went sideways. Like he had never realized until that moment that there were engineers that weren't structural engineers. Like we were out, I think lowbrow. I think it was Lewis, me, and Will. I think we were all there, and Chris introduced himself to this. You know, I'm a structural engineer, and I popped in immediately. And I was like, hey, because I just, you know, I was in software at the time, and I'm also an engineer. And Chris was immediate. That doesn't count. Software doesn't count. And then Lewis, I mean, who was probably an engineer on a few different fronts at this point, projects, all sorts of stuff. He goes, he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm an engineer too. And then just Chris is getting madder and madder. And then Will comes in. He's like, yeah, I'm a database engineer. And I thought it was great. It was just, I mean, just completely took the wind out of his sails. Ah, gosh.
Chris's financial aptitude? I once told him that his investment strategy was bearish, as in bears. I think he took this as a homophobic insult, like investing on cruise lines means you need to be overweight and wear flannel. Now, I'm not saying that these virus-spreading death traps on water are a bad investment strategy, but I am saying that cruise lines are going the way of the Titanic.
I mean, I remember when Bo got a motorcycle, and then I picked up a bike, and then he picked up a bike because he couldn't not have a motorcycle. And then he wrecked his motorcycle, blamed it on somebody else, which, fine. At least when I laid my bike down, I didn't blame it on anybody, you know? Like, if you got a car better than his car, you're going to hear about it. He's going to find the one thing, oh, you know what, the gas mileage isn't as good. Oh, yeah, well, you know, you don't want that. It's not great. But, I mean, meanwhile, he's driving a BMW. And, I mean, I'm pretty sure so that he can impress, you know, girls and gay men. It's an internal struggle for him because I think he wants to be able to attack other people's vehicles. I mean, otherwise, if I'm just driving like a beat-up truck, given where I live, I can't claim to be a real estate investor. I'm just like, you know, some dude with a shitty house. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. You know what you'll never hear Chris talk shit about, though? People's teeth. I mean, he's not going to get braces at this point, so.
Okay, so like one time Chris, Will, and we went to Bodega Bay and we got some crab traps to put off of the pier. Now everybody was doing it. Rock crabs, dungees, you name it. And sometimes you lose your bait to a sea lion, but that was the game. So I don't know whose idea it was to do this, but we left our traps out on that pier and we went on a hike or something. And then we came back for our traps in the pouring rain. And we got soaked from head to toe. I mean, our socks and undies were wet. And half of our traps, they got stolen. But we did catch like 3 small little crabs. So what did we do? We changed in the back of Will's Scion in some parking lot, and we went to a fancy restaurant for short ribs and carrots. That shit was delicious. Then we returned to our camp, which was on Bodega Dunes, right on the beach. And we got fucking lit. And when the rain was gone, we walked along the shore in the pitch black, but yet the fog and the haze from the city made everything seem bronze that night. When we got back to our camp, and our stone asses steamed the crabs and ate them. That shit was also bomb. That's it. It's my favorite story with Chris in it.
But yeah, I think there is, like, I mean, tying everything together, like the wrestling. I mean, the metrosexual clothing, absolutely uncomfortable when anybody refers to anything even slightly homosexual. Like, that kind of intrinsic and immediate need to just go and call things gay is usually a pretty good sign. I'm just saying, if he denies being gay, it's just because he is in so much denial that he isn't even closet about this. He just doesn't even, like, he's even blocked it from his own psyche, which is, I mean, I will respect the man for that, though. That's a huge exercise in rule power.